Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here of Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and today,
masterpiece,
we are going to be reviewing Lady in a Leotard with a Gun.
This is a Patreon review request from our buddy Travis Lee of the Roast Mortem podcast. Unironically, one of my favorite podcasts, so make sure you go check it out. And Travis, buddy, thank you so much.
You did us dirty.
Did he?
There's only one beer to drink when you review this game, and that's Lucky Streak, because it's $12 for a case.
Just about as much time as it takes to play this game. Let's get into it. Originally released in October of 2021, Lady in a Leotard with a Gun is out for the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, and the home on itch.io. So this was developed and published by The Voices Games, who, according to Brian, they're a little bit infamous because they like to do the old asset flippy, cheap game, kind of garbage, kind of memey kind of stuff.
Some would say shovelware, the shit that Sony's trying to get rid of.
Uh-oh, buy it now. So yeah, you can buy this for about 50 to 60 cents depending on the week. And this one's basically made to be a platinum, abusing kind of game to get an easy platinum. But yeah, third-person shooter, and you play as a lady in a leotard with a gun. No bullshitting here.
Hey Jim, this seems like the type of game you would overpay from Limited Run for.
Right, this seems like the type of game I will overpay from Limited Run for.
You don't need this game in your future, Jim.
Need? No. Desire? Yes.
Let's just get into it.
Desire.
Ow! The graphics. I mean, just look at this. It really is just a demo package. I don't know if this guy was trolling everyone. It seems to be their MO from the Voices games because previously he made the Lizard Lady versus the Cats. And what do you know? It's the same model. She actually has more detail in that game, and the walls have textures. So somehow he downgraded this game into what you see before you.
Bryce, her butt is big in that game.
Jim, you and I are going to have a little talk about goddamn butts and
Answer
goddamn games.
The question.
Yes, it's the same exact size.
All right, I'm in.
Fuck. This game has zero effort put into it in terms of colors. You get one color on the walls. You get enemies that are all basically black, except for the fact that you have a flamethrower guy. You have whatever the hell this crawling thing is with a little bit of green. And the lady herself is this really weird metallic purple. I don't know what else to say. The bullets, there aren't bullets. There's just a little bit of fire from your gun. There's really nothing here. The game looks absolutely terrible, but that's probably the least of its worries. So when it comes to score, I'm going to give it a 1. Jim gave it a 2. His obsession with virtual butts is...
Look, Bri, I can't give up Donk a 1. Can't do it. Won't do it.
So for beer, get a 6-pack out. I'm starting her heavy.
Heavy like that Donk. Ow! This sound. Oh boy. The real question is, what sound? Because there are nearly no sound effects in this game. The gun, for the most part, you hear nothing as you fire it. That's a good sign. Some enemies have like rocket launchers. They don't make any sounds when they hit you, so that's a good sign. The enemies, when you hit them, they make a little sound. And you just hear that again and again. And then the other one's like this little growl. So, yeah, it's this is an interesting one.
Jim, can you do a growl for us?
But moving on to the music, it's actually not a bad track. The problem is it's the only music you hear the entire time. There's no menu music, there's no ending music, but you do hear this one track on loop again and again and again and again and again and again.
Jim, you're referring to the legendary Tim Beek.
Tim Beek got done dirty. Did they at least pay him for it?
He had it available for purchase. That's why I'm saying they didn't hire him for it. They just bought a song off his website. So, hey, they did pay for it. I don't know if he's happy or sad that it ended up in this game. But I will say, the song is actually decent. It would be a fine... You know what? this is what I would expect from a Genesis game.
Son of a...
And you know what? That would probably be your favorite song in a Genesis game. You'd be like, Streets of Rage 3 could really use this synth pop.
He'll be up there. But yeah, so that's the package. There's almost nothing here except for one song that infinitely loops. So Brian gave it a 2 for some Tim Beek love, and I gave it a 1. No disrespect to Tim Beek. And when it comes to beer, oh Christ. I'll add 3 beers. One happy one for them paying Tim Beek, I guess. 1 for one song, and 1 for basically one sound effect.
The control. Yes, this is shovelware. This is a demo package. You do have the ability to move, you do have the ability to shoot, and you can even roll around. The problem is, even with those very basic things, it still feels like you're moving on the moon, and there is such a clunkiness with it. Now, the shooting, there's no response to if you're actually hitting, except for those terrible sound effects that Jim tried to mimic.
Ooh.
So I guess the shot precision is perfect, but you really don't get any feedback. And the movement itself, even going side to side, strafing, it's a little goofy. This game is extremely easy. You can finish it in 15 or 20 minutes. So it's...
Right. That's noob numbers. You can finish this shit in 5 to 10 minutes. There's a hardcore speedrunning community around this.
I'm sure there is, Jim. But here's the deal. You can't say the control is good by any means. And just like everything else on this game, it may not be the worst part, but it's still laughably bad. And there is this one part in the game where they decide to make it a side-scrolling platformer, and that's where it really is apparent that the control is a little fucked up. So, when it comes to scores, I gave it a 3, Jim gave it a 4. I'm still convinced it's just for those cheeks. So
the cheeks help. But I will say, the control is probably the best part of this game. It's still not great. And for the most part, it works, even though that side-scrolling level out of nowhere is a war crime. That thing is atrocious.
So when it comes to beer, you know what? Throw another 6er on there. I don't like this game.
The gameplay. What is there really to say? It's basically a corridor shooter, third person. No cover. At least there's no cover, Brian. So you have to... But
there's little obstacles.
You can do a little cover. Okay, so you're going down... It almost looks like caves for the most part. And you just shoot wave after wave of enemies that are coming after you. And then you exit. And then one level's randomly side-scrolling. And then a couple levels randomly, you're outside. So... And then one level randomly has a moving platform for some reason. It's just bizarre. And like we said already, the feedback and control, like, it's not fun to play. You don't get that satisfaction of really shooting anything. And then there's the health counter. So a big part of this gameplay is going for the trophies in it. It's made to be a trophy hunting thing. And one trophy for every single level is beating the level without getting hit, which for the most part is fine. But then you have level 10 where you go, or is it 11 or 12? I forget. But where you don't have the counter. So you might be in an AoE of being hit, but you're never going to know it. So yeah, you're going to get through that, knock at the thing and go, son of a bitch, and have to restart the whole thing if you're trying to go for that platinum.
Which you should never, ever, 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 ever do. Ever.
Correct. But yeah, it's a trophy hunt. It's a bad third-person shooter. What else are we going to say? There's no online. There's no real goal. There's no different endings. It just kind of ends. So, Brian gave it a 1, and I gave it a 2. Why did I give it a 2? At least they kind of threw some variety into the level design. Could have just all been corridors. A for effort, Brian.
This is why you never got A's in college.
Didn't even come close. So, when it comes to beer, I'm going to add another 3 beers. Just for the 3 different types of levels you can play in, Brian.
The originality. You know what? By far, this is the shortest one I'll ever give. There is none. It's a game demo. Music's not even original. It's just taken from Tim Beek. It gets 1s. This is awful. And the same character model was already used, so it can't even get originality there. When it comes to beer, adding another 4. Just to make up for Jim's lack of going above 3.
All right, replayability. Yeah, we've kind of been over it all at this point, so... You can beat the game in under 10 minutes. There's no different endings. And it's a trophy hunt. So Brian gave it a 1 and I gave it a 3. And why did I give it a 3?
Yeah, why did you give it a 3, Jim?
Well, 1, I seem to have a boner for the number 3 this episode. And 2, because the main point of the game is the trophy hunting. But because the game is so goddamn broken, you're gonna have to play through it again and 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 again. And since it's so short to beat, it's actually not as painful as other games to try and platinum. So there you go. So when it comes to beer, let's just keep the chain on rolling with another 3.
Overall, we've learned some things today. 1, this game exists. 2, you absolutely should not play it. I don't even care if you are the most die-hard trophy hunter out there. Don't do it. Please don't do it. And 3, Jim's terrible taste is on full display because he's giving a game like this way more credit than it deserves. So it validates everyone who always hates on Jim's taste.
Tough but fair. What do you want? Tough but fair.
I mean, Jim is he's like a fly to shit.
This game had a point, and it accomplishes its point.
The only thing that this game accomplished is giving you a lady in a leotard with a gun.
With a butt. With Tim Beak. 50 cents. Go try it out.
Don't try it out. Travis, you son of a bitch. We both gave this game 1s. When we round all of our scores together, it's 1.9. As I was inputting the scores, the fact that it got this close to a 2, I was legit going to hit Jim. I was like, you motherfucker, if this goes to a 2. So
I live for this.
It's 1.9. We're not entirely sure. I can safely say it's in the top 3 worst games we ever reviewed. I know it's the worst game we ever reviewed. I just don't know score-wise if we've ever scored anything this low. I'm pretty sure we haven't.
I don't think so.
The only thing that might have come close is like Pit Fighter on Super NES.
Yeah.
Or Wayne Gretzky on NES.
Yeah, or Superman 64. They were pretty low.
Yeah, but this, no. This is bottom of the barrel. Don't do it. And you know what? I actually hope, all you trophy hunting assholes, I hope when shovelware gets pulled, your trophy gets pulled with it.
Right.
This game should not exist.
You have to buy a second PS5 so you can keep it on there forever like PT. That's what you gotta do. Game preservation, people.
Don't you dare.
Spend your 50 cents and preserve this art.
You know what? Yeah. Be the suckers that when this game gets pulled, limited run charges you $20 for it, and you're like, I gotta have it.
$20? You must be new here. You don't do $20 for anything.
Please, for the love of God, if you do decide to play this, get a case of very cheap beer. I don't care what cheap beer you get. Get yourself as drunk as possible, because that's the only way you're even going to have a little bit of entertainment with this one.
Yeah, you're right. Good night, everybody.
When it comes to beer pairing, as I said at the beginning, you need to go with something very cheap because you do not want to waste quality beer on a game like this. And since I'm suggesting you drink almost a damn near case, why not go with something like the Beer 30 Light from Melanie Brewing Company? Comes in at only 4%. It is one of the worst reviewed beers I could find, so you know what? I can't imagine it's very expensive. Grab as many as you can. If you decide to sit through this game, then you can sit through a case of that. But remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly.